So, I never got to playing the first Witcher game, and now I did, and I didn't regret it whatsoever. Here's my video review of The Witcher.
His name was Geralt of Rivia. He was a witcher, a professional monster slayer. An unusual contract to lift the curse that held him.
This game is all about Geralt, who is a witcher, a more or less mutated humanoid who specializes in slaying monsters. So he basically is a sword for hire. He's not a typical hero. People think he's strange and they distrust him. So I really like that. You know, he's not that standard, hero. So the game is set in a sort of medieval world and has an interesting storyline about the Witcher having lost his memory and looking for answers, and meanwhile some evil wizard stole the wizard's secrets, and the story is told through numerous in-game cutscenes and narrated hand-painted storyboards.
Was the beginning of events that would soon rock Temeria. Sensing the approaching conflict, both sides were eager to test the enemy.
That really adds to the atmosphere. Now, exteriors in this game look really lovely. Medieval houses, smoke coming from the chimneys, buzzing, the streets are buzzing with life, people walking around, talking. There's an impressive day and night cycle, different weather types, and dynamic lighting. So unfortunately, character models don't fare so well. They are really devoid of any expression, they look stiff and are recycled, meaning you'll see a lot of the same faces. The Witcher is not an open world game. The game takes place in different areas that will open up along the story and are semi-free roaming. Well, each chapter of the game, as I said, opens up a new area for you to explore. There are certain predetermined paths you can walk, and shortcuts are hard to come by. So this might put some people off who are really used playing games like Oblivion and Fallout. The story unfolds while you take on missions, and the main storyline really kept me going and guessing. There's a lot to do. Some people might be put off by the fact that you'll be wandering around a lot and you'll revisit certain locations, but that really didn't bother me. There's no horseback riding, but you can fast travel between certain locations through portals. So, typical missions involve slaying a beast, fetching something for someone, clearing a dungeon, some pretty straightforward stuff, but there's a lot of these really good missions that will force you to make moral choices or take sides. And that will eventually have an impact on the mission itself, or even in a more subtle way later on in the game. I thought that was done very well. A word of warning though, this is a very mature game, dealing with themes like drugs, racism, betrayal, death, illness, and there's even suggestive interaction with women, as you can collect sex cards. But that's optional. So interaction with characters works really well. NPCs have their own routines. Some turn up during the day, some others during the night. They're not always there waiting for you, which adds to the immersion into the world of The Witcher. I really love the voice acting in this game. Another thing is that the NPCs are usually very reluctant to talk to you. So usually you need to persuade them, bribe them, feed them alcohol, or give them presents, which sometimes really make me laugh. Because of the sheer number of characters, sometimes it's a little confusing who is who and what their role in the whole story is. So the game is not for the impatient ones, as the story unfolds slowly but steadily. The biggest problem I had with the game was with controlling Geralt through the game world. As I said, there are physical boundaries in this world, and you can use the mouse or the keyboard or a combination of both. For me, the mouse worked best, but the camera sometimes is a little too close to the action and feels awkward, or obstacles get in the line of sight, which is frustrating, especially during combat. So much like moving, controlling Geralt in combat is a little tedious as well. It's different from what you'll be used to. You click on an enemy and wait for Geralt to perform the attack. It seems a bit like context sensitive, depending on your stats and level sort of thing. You don't directly control your blows, dodges, parries, and so forth. The combat kinda looks better than it actually plays. During combat, you can directly use magic spells, like you can slow down time. That will give you more opportunity to hit the enemy, like using fire or traps or stun your foes or finish them off in a brutal way. Now that is really satisfying. What I did like is the fact that you have different attack styles depending on the sort of enemy you'll be facing, like strong attacks for bigger, slower enemies, or fast attacks for the more agile enemies, or group attacks for fighting a number of enemies at the same time. So that will give you some freedom in how you approach a certain combat situation. Best thing about this game is the role-playing. There's a lot of loot to find, especially ingredients for brewing potions and stuff for you to sell. I didn't experience a lot of stuff like for weapons and gear. There isn't a whole lot to find. Yeah, so you'll be using more or less the same swords throughout the game. You will gain experience by killing enemies and finishing quests, of course. Through meditation, you can allocate experience points to your attributes. You can brew potions from elements of slain enemies or ingredients you will find in the game world. And these potions have all different effects, like you can look in the dark, or they make you stronger for a certain time, and so forth. And you can upgrade your spells for greater effect. And this works really well. Technically, this game is not really stable, unfortunately. Still, I experienced some desktop crashes while saving, freezes, and some graphical problems with especially shadows, as you can see here. And at some point my map turned black all of a sudden. Overall, this is a great RPG. It's not an easy game. It's not perfect. The world of The Witcher is very accomplished, so I think this game deserves a solid 8 out of 10. So let me know what you think. If you've played The Witcher, what did you like, what didn't you like? Thanks for watching. Overall, this is a great RPG. It's not an easy game. It's not perfect. The world of The Witcher is very accomplished, so I think this game deserves a solid 8 out of 10. So let me know what you think. If you've played The Witcher, what did you like, what didn't you like? Thanks for watching.